Hello everyone, today we're taking a look at the FireStyle from GameHat Aerial. GameHat Aerial is a US based small group that is taking parts from FPV shops that we know here in the US, Tiny Whoop, We Bleed FPV, wherever they can find the parts that they prefer to buy, and they put them together with whoops. They do exclusively whoops, and I will link their site down in the video description, and I do have a couple of coupons that you can take advantage if you're interested. The FireStyle uses the Newbie Drone Race-Spec V2 all-in-one flight controller, which does require this little dongle, and it has pins in the board that you just connect this to for your Betaflight USB access. It also uses Newbie Drone 0702 30,000 kV motors, and the props on those motors are the HQ Ultralight 31mm props. The camera is the BI-V2, and the PID tune comes directly from GameHat Aerial and their PID tuning experts. It weighs 17 grams flat, and my flights did come on the Lava 2 batteries from Beta FPV. And with that battery, it comes in at 25.09 grams. Out of the box, it comes with this mount that has a much higher camera angle, and that's a little bit too spicy for me, so I had to go with a slightly lower mount. GameHat also has these nifty little 3D printed pocket docks, they call them. I think they're $12. You can put 6 batteries. You can put a couple of different quads. I'll refer you to their website on the different ones that fit. I think it's the 65mm non-pro. And this cover is the flexible plastics that we can print. Just slides over there nicely, nice and small in your hand. We are going to have a couple of crashes in this flight. I had a really crispy, clean run all planned for this video, and I was talking to my wife one night about this whoop in this video. Yes, she's very good to me. She indulges me when I talk about FPV, and she said, "You're not using any of that footage from when the house was a mess." Now, in my opinion, the house was never in a mess. It was just Christmas, and we had Christmassy stuff, and we're picking up Christmassy stuff. So, anyways, I had to oblige. The dude must oblige, and so I made another run. I didn't get a good, clean run. I took about another 8 batteries and just ran it around the house. I think it was actually 10. I have a bunch of those 320 Lava 2s. Beta FPV has been sending them to me about once every week or 2 weeks. I'm getting a package of those now. You might remember I reviewed those a while back. So like I said, a couple of crashes in this one, but I guess proof of concept. I am not a perfect pilot. I crash probably just as frequently as anyone else out there flying around in their house with these little whoops. The thing that I think makes this stand out, and you can see it from time to time, is when I bump the throttle, especially at the end of cornering, I kind of balloon up a little bit more than I'm expecting to. That's just because this has a little bit more hop than I'm expecting to. That was something that you kind of get used to every once in a while, but it's one of those things that I noticed, especially inside, that when I would come around corners, that sometimes I would balloon up, come up higher vertically is what I mean by balloon up, higher than I might normally with a lower KV machine that weighed a little bit more as well. KV and weight, they kind of play a role in how our flight characteristics are. Got a real nice tune. That was one of the things I think that they stand out for, and they do have several whoops other than this, and previously seen on the channel, GameHat Aerial. At the time, it was called a pickled whoop. I think they still have those on the site. They have several different whoops on site you can take a look at. Again, I do have those coupon codes if you want to save a little money. There's actually 2. There's like a discount coupon code and then a shipping coupon code. I forgot, or I failed to clarify if you can pair those together to save yourself double, or if it's just one or the other. So you might want to do some calculations, and hopefully the checkout process lets you know whether you can apply both of those or not. And this will also be an outside flight. I was very, very fortunate that I got some relatively decent outside flying time. And I think that's where, I think if you don't live in a house that is very inside whoop compatible, this really flies like a much larger prop quad outside. Aww. And I think the outside flight that we'll see here in about 30 seconds does kind of highlight that. The boost that you get on punch-outs, at least the things that I tend to do, it really kind of highlighted it and made it feel like it was a much larger prop craft. You see there the flight ended. I could have went a little bit longer, 2:42, probably could have went for almost 3 minutes. Here we are outside. Outside flight, minimal wind. The actual wind report was 8 miles an hour, but it's minimal. Probably not even that much on this particular flight. Of course, as I oftentimes say, we have a lot of protection with the houses in the neighborhood, and the trees, well, not so much this time of year because of the leaves are all gone, but watch those punches and watch. And this is just a little 65 millimeter, 31 millimeter prop quad. It really, to me, I think it shows that it flies like a larger prop quad, and that may be of interest, especially with something that's this size. I think another thing that could be of interest for those of you that might be worried about FCC issues here in the U.S. is that these parts are already here in the U.S., so you don't have to take what could be a risk potentially of ordering parts. They've already got the parts. They would assemble them, and hopefully their operation doesn't get interrupted by any of the FCC issues we have seen. They have relaxed those a little bit, but at this point in time, you just never know what's going to happen. I have had a few people comment about how they've ordered stuff recently and they did receive it. I just think it's too soon from that FCC change to really know what's going to happen. And you can see there several times I punch up over the cabana and I miss my angle, because what I actually want to do is come down just on the other side of the roof. There is one of those that I actually get it, but I don't get it quite like I like the feel, the look that I'm going for when I punch up and over. I really want to come down much closer to the air conditioner area or the roof line than I did on that one that you just saw. And I continue to try it a few times, and when I hit that throttle, it throws me so much further than I'm expecting due to that performance that we are getting out of this particular little whoop. But yeah, a lot of fun to fly. They're not going to be, the cheapest whoops on the market, so that's something else that we have to acknowledge. You get a little bit of hand holding and hand care. They do offer additional support via Discord. And with the FireStyle, you also get the FireStyle. You also get the Pocket Dock. So you don't have to buy those separately, but the Pocket Dock is available separately if you don't have a printer of your own. There's a lot of docks or cases for whoops out there, but if you're like me, even though I have a printer, I am not all that good at it, and I'm not actually all that interested in 3D printing, oddly enough. We're coming in for our landing. You get about 2.5 minutes on most flights. This particular one, my battery is going to recover to 3.5 volts, which is my target that I go to that I want to achieve at the end of flights. So that's about what you can expect if you're flying the same batteries. So something I want to highlight before we move on, because I went over it fairly quickly, this little connector goes right into those pins. I find this a little bit fussy. Let me do it. It's probably because my vision isn't so good, but that's how it lays on there. And then you plug in your USB and it works just like a traditional USB port. The upside is that when you're flying, you don't have to worry about the USB port breaking off, which does happen to people, or you don't have to worry about the plastic connector that we've been seeing on the newer versions that, no micro USB. They just have that plastic connector on the bottom, that breaking off either. So this is a good solution, because you could probably from Newbie Drone always get an extra one of these if you misplace it. But, again, you might want to put something on this to kind of make it a little bit bigger if your desk is like mine and a little bit messy, because these can be misplaced. This camera angle that it comes with out of the box, and you may want to include some sort of note about maybe having a different camera angle. That's for the elite pilots. I said that in the quick specs, but that's for people who are really good at whoop flying, not me. It doesn't look like that much, but when you mount it up, it's another serious probably 10+ degrees over what we got here. And you may have noticed when we were flying, we could barely see the front two parts of the whoop frame. It does come with a BT20 connector for your batteries, so that it is compatible with the most popular. And also note that these are soldered on motor wires, so soldering required for replacements. They do have soldering that you can do on both ends. The motors have PCB pads as well as down here on the board. Also the screws, they use one metal screw on the outside position of the motors. You can look there, that one's gone. I must have rattled that one loose and forgot to put it back. I don't even know. Don't remember seeing that before sitting down here to record this. But then they used, I can't say they're Rennie or what kind of plastic. Presumably they're a lighter material and material that they use, because GameHat Aerial is composed of people who actually fly, and you may know some of them actually even personally as well. So that's something to keep in mind. A very bespoke company, I think, is the appropriate term. Let me get my antenna back in its holster here, so to speak. I did change out the front screw. You can see that's a black screw versus these. I found that it was coming out in my crashes, so I got a longer 4mm screw with a little bit of a larger pan head. That was kind of a challenge to put that in there. I had to pop the camera out so I could flex this top section, and then you could tell there that there's not a lot of angle to get your screwdriver down through there, so I had to really bow that back and apply pressure down through this print, in order to be able to get that screw in, but I did get it because too spicy. And this also probably is a lighter mount, so the weight, if you were to have this one or another one, that it could be lower than the weight that I showed you in the quick specs. So that is the GameHat Aerial FireStyle, easy for me to say, as well as their pocket dock. Don't forget, don't quote me on that price, but I was just looking at it a minute ago, but by the time I publish this video and everything, prices can always change. Maybe they go down. But I think these are $12, and let me look on the price on this. This is a $200 Whoop, but don't forget, I do have those coupon codes, and I think they're currently starting to do some sales. You can also keep track on Facebook because they make these in batches rather than having a whole bunch that are sitting around. They make them in batches, so quantities and availability may vary from time to time. If you do have an interest in the FireStyle or any sort of bespoke sort of whoops that someone else that is an avid flyer might build for you, I will put the link to GameHat Aerial's website down in the video description down below with those coupon codes. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, or otherwise about whoops in general, or you just want to say hi, please let me know in the comments section below. I appreciate your time. Thanks for watching.